My name is Val Lupez, born and raised in San Francisco. So I'm a cable car gripman. Technically, I'm a transit operator, 9139, and I work at the cable car division. Been here for 22 years now. I grew up around here when I was a little kid. My mom used to hang out down in Chinatown with her friends, and I would get bored. They would shove me out the door. Here, go play, go find something to do. I ended up wandering up here one day when I was a little kid and found these things. Fascinated by them. And I always wanted to be a cable car gripman from the time I was a little kid. I started with the agency at the end of 1998, drove a bus for about a year and a half. Then I got lucky with my timing and managed to get over here to cable car. And at that time, it really took about an average 5 to maybe 7 years on a bus before you could build up your seniority to be able to come over here. Basically, this is the 1890s version of a bus. This is your basic public transportation. And at the time, at its height, 1893, there were about 20 different routes. And like this powerhouse, there were about 15 of them throughout the entire city.
I work at the cable car division. I've been with Muni for 25 years, been working with cable car for 23 years. This is called the barn, basically, because these things are horses and they work hard, so they got to have a place to sleep at night. No, just joking. But this is called the barn because everything takes place here. The powerhouse is downstairs, you know, and so that's basically the whole heart of the soul of the system. This is where these cable cars rest or sleep at night. So I guess you could put a title in there saying the barn. Been around since 1873, and of course back in the day it was driven by steam. Now it's all electric, but it still has a very good function as being called the barn. Yeah.
I am the superintendent of cable car vehicle maintenance, and we are on the first and a half floor of the cable car barn, where you can see the cables are moving at 9.5 miles an hour, and that's what's causing the little extra noise that we're hearing now. We have 28 PAL cars, we have 12 California cars for a total of 40 revenue cars, then we have 2 historics. There's 4 gearboxes, 1 for each cable, and that's the gears of the motor. They weigh close to 20 tons, and they had to do a special system to get them out of here because when they put them in here, the barn was all opened up because they had redid the whole barn that year. So it was quite difficult in the first of kind project, changing those out, and we did them one at a time, and now they're all brand new. Engineer's room has the 4 monitors that tell you the speed of the cable, and she monitors them, and in case of emergency, she can shut down all 4 cables or individually at any time if she needs to be. That sound you heard right there is a gentleman rebuilding a grip that grabs the cable. They would grab the cable, they weigh about 400 pounds each, and those only last about 3 days before we have to rebuild them. The cable car grip, the bottom part is underground with the cable. It's like a big giant vice grip. It closes around the cable and they pull back click by click and it slowly starts moving the cable car. The cable car weighs 16,500 pounds without people, so it's quite heavy. And imagine pulling that up the hill. If the strand comes off the cable, it can be only 1 wire, but if it continues to unravel, it turns into a ball. And then they cannot let go of it because it only opens up that wide, and there's a big ball pushing the grip, which is intense, pushing the whole cable car. There's no way to let go of it, so that's why they have to have the code 900 to shut the cable down in emergencies. Along with the track shoes, which are the wooden brakes on a cable car, they too only last 3 days, and they wear out. A lot of preventative maintenance.
Rail was considered to be the old thing. Rubber tires, cars, buses, that's new, it's modern. They were definitely faster, cheaper, there's no question about that. So here in San Francisco, we went through the same thing. Mayor Lapham decided we don't need cable cars. They're slow, they're antiquated, they're expensive, they're blah, blah, blah. We can replace them with buses. Be faster and cheaper and more economical. And he was right if you look at just the dollars and cents part. He was right.
Back in 1947, when they voted that, I too am surprised because of the technology. The Chronicle paper said, super buses in, cable cars out. And that was the headline. That would have been the demise of the cable cars.
A lady named Friedel Klussmann came along and said, stop, no, 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 no. She was the first one to say, we're going to fight City Hall. She got her friends together and they started from a very small group called the Save the Cable Car Committee, 1947, and managed to get it on the ballot. Are we going to keep the cable cars or not? And turned nationwide and finally worldwide. And City Hall was completely unprepared for the amount of backlash they got. You know, oh, this is just a bunch of, well, the city came out and said basically 3-1, if I'm not mistaken, no, we want our cars. Eventually, Friedel Klussmann and her group managed to save what we have. And literally, if it wasn't for them, there would be no cable cars.
But people saw something back then that we see today, that you can't get rid of such a beautiful, and it wasn't a historical monument at the time, but now it is, and it was just part of San Francisco. Yeah, we had freighters and we had freight back then. We don't have that anymore. All we have is tourists. And this is the #1 tourist attraction in San Francisco. It's historic, the only national moving historic monument in the world.
The citizens of San Francisco did keep the cable car because it's a fascinating feel of having something that is so historic going up and down these hills of San Francisco. And obviously everyone knows San Francisco is famous for the hills. And who would know and who would guess that they were actually trying to get rid of, which was, I guess, a crazy idea at the time, I guess because they felt that automobiles were taking the place of the cable car, and getting rid of the cable car was be the best thing for the city and county of San Francisco. But thank God they didn't. I have seen the city change. I have seen lots of diversity in cable car itself. When I first came over the cable car, we had a lady by the name of Fanny Barnes, and she was actually the first cable car grip person. Now we have had about 3 or 4 that have come through the system, being an actual grip person. But gripping a cable car is probably the most toughest and challenging job in the entire system.
I want to thank all of our grip women who operate our cable cars because they are a crucial face of the city to the world. Do we have one of our wonderful women gripmen? Come on forward. Yes! These ladies, this is what it's about, continuing to empower women.
My name is Willa Johnson, and I've been at Cable Car for 13 years. I came to San Francisco when I was 5 years old, and that's the very first time I rode a cable car. I went to see the Crooked Street, and we rode the cable car. I went to Fisherman's Wharf, and that was the very first time I rode the cable car, and didn't ride it again until I started working here. I worked in the medical field for a while. I wanted to change. Some people don't do that, but I started with the MTA in September of 1999, and I came over to Cable Car in 2008. It was a general sign-up, and that's the only time you can go out to different divisions. And I signed up as a conductor and came over here and been here since. There were a few ladies that over at Woods that wanted to come over here, and we just had decided we wanted to leave Woods and come to a different division, and Cable Car was it. I do know there have been only 4 women that gripped the cable car in 150 years, and I am the second person to grip the cable car. And I also know that during the 1960s that women were not even allowed to ride on the sideboard of a cable car. So it's exciting to know you can go from not riding on the sideboard of a cable car to actually gripping and driving the cable car. It just opened the doors for a lot of people to be able to have the opportunity to do what they aspire to do. I had some people that said I wouldn't make it as a conductor, even at Woods, and I came over here and made it as a conductor. And I think the best thing I did was to come to this division. It's a good division, and I like gripping cable cars. I do.
I think she just tapped into that general feeling that San Francisco's tend to have of this is ours, it's special, it's unique. Economically and, you know, in a rational sense, does it make sense? Not really. But from here, if you think from here, no, we don't need these things. If you think from here, yeah. And as it turned out, she was right, you know, so. And I'm grateful to her, very grateful.